My name is Mikkel Reisbøl. I'm the Document Capture Senior Solution Specialist at Continia Software. Today we're going to look at many of the awesome and cool new features in Document Capture version 650. So let's see what we have on the list of the new stuff. We have added a few enhancements to the Document Capture setup, especially regarding the activation. As you can see here, 3 key items are mentioned, and one of them is the email subject that is also configured. The email subject concerns the sending of notifications to the approvers, meaning that the setup is easier done, faster, and you've been guided more than you are used to be. Besides that, we've added some extra features in the approval area. We now edit the lines in the approval entry page, the Document Capture approval page, directly in your Business Central, meaning that you don't have to open your document to go in and edit the invoice lines. And besides that, a bit extra approval in the cloud solution. One of the major areas that we have enhanced is the order receipt match functionality. And as you can see, we have a long list of great enhancements. Buy from vendor is now supported, meaning that if you have an invoice that comes from a pay to vendor, we now link those two together and find the right orders and receipts that are linked to this pay to vendor over to the buy from vendor. And a lot of other things like variance handling on line level. You can now split order lines, create order lines, and a better way of handling serial and lot number matching. On the general side, we have some user experience enhancements. We have, as usual, made some modifications to when to show and hide fields and page parts. So this has also been improved. Better messages also included, and new tile on the role center called Delegate to Me. This is quite cool. We're going to see that later today. And of course, regarding events, you can now go and find the full list of all 650 event publishers in case you want to go in and add your own code to the Document Capture solution. Speaking about documents, document journal, document card, document handling in general, we can now go in and configure the messages that the solution delivers to us. Something like when the payment terms are wrong or matching is not quite correct, and then we can go in and configure those messages. We can also, through the document journal, go in and add and edit the comments. We also enhance the line recognition to do some automatic line calculation. And finally, in that area, we have the extended item text support. On the technology side, we have the same app for on-premises and cloud, meaning that when you do the installation, you have the cloud solution and on-premises being totally identical. And if you want to have some on-premises services enabled, like OCR or local file storage, you need to install a secondary app. And to make this all the full installation as simple as possible, we have made a new guide for installing the app and even do the upgrade through one single script. You just run it, and then you select what solution you want to install or upgrade, and it guides you through and runs automatically. Let's continue down the list. We have Exchange Web Services support because Microsoft have announced that they are stopping support for IMAP, and we will at this point already start supporting the EWS connections. And the last thing on today's list, Azure Blob Storage. Document Capture now support storage in the Azure for all your documents. And even though we had a long list of items, we have much more included in the new version. You can find all the information in the changelog, which is available when you download the solution or go to your partner zone. And how much of this are we going to look at today? Let's see. These are the items that I'm going to demonstrate. A bit about order receipt match, some general things, all the items from the document area, and a bit about technology. First of all, let's take a look at the event publishers. If you browse to the Continia Help Center and search for event, of course, you have to go into the support area. First, you click on this in your partner zone, and you will search for event. You'll find a list of the Document Capture 650 event publishers. Click on this. You have a full list of all the events we have created, and this is quite a full list of possibilities to go in and modify the solution in areas where you have your own code. The list will be updated frequently, and in case you have some suggestions, please write us, please contact us, and we will add those event publishers to the list. Let's dive into the solution and take a look at some of the items from our agenda. The first area we're going to look at is the Azure Blob Storage. I'll go find my document capture setup. And in here we have the option to select different ways of storing our documents. We used to have only two choices, file system and database, but now I have the Azure Blob Storage available. And it's quite simple to go in and change that. If you want to change it, you could also start out with this, of course. And what you have to do is simply select the storage type. And when you have already imported document, as I have today, you have been asked if you want to move those documents to the new area. And yes, I would like to continue by selecting yes. And now I have to fill in three values. That would be my storage account, my Azure account key, and my blob container name. Those informations are found in the Azure storage area, and I'm just typing a few examples. Could be something like this, and it depends on what your storage account name and blob container name is, of course. As soon as you click OK, Document Capture builds the full file archive with all the subfolders, and you are ready to go. This is quite simple, and just to mention, the storage account that you are typing in here is something that you need to create outside of Document Capture, of course. This is the standard Microsoft Azure Blob Storage area. Yes. Let's move over to some documents and look at the enhancement in the document and order matching area. I have 9 documents ready to process, and I will go through them one at a time, and you get to see a lot of new exciting features. The first document here is one document from the London Postmaster. Let's go in and recognize some fields. In here, I have recognized 3 lines. Let's take a look at the document card. We have 3 items that are translated to my item numbers. And this is a item number 1000, it's a bicycle, a touring bicycle, and tube. And if I take a look at the item number here behind, let's go in and view that. Get to see a bit about the extended texts. And if I click on this one, you'll see that I have, for this bike, I have a text that says standard bike with 2 wheels. So this is my extended text for my item number 1000. And the exciting thing here is that now when I go in and register my document, like this, you'll see that the invoice created contains the standard text and, of course, my extended text. Quite cool, actually. Of course, you need to fill in the extended text and also activate it on the item card in order to make it appear here. Yes. Back to the journal, and let's take the next document. The next subject here is about notification. In this case, we have a document that is fully recognized. Everything looks nice. It's marked with OK, meaning that we can proceed with the document. However, I do have a warning down here. Payment terms current month are not correct. As you know, Document Capture checks and validates the payment terms on the vendor card compared with the invoice date and due date. And in this case, we do have some kind of mismatch. So what I can do here is I can go in and delegate the document to a designated user. I would say that this one is going to be sent to Richard Lum. Please notice that I'm not registering the document. I'm not sending it for approval. I'm simply notifying Richard Lum that he needs to do something about the document. So let's take a look at Richard Lum's role center. Here we are, delegated to me. We have one document delegated to Richard Lum, just to make it clear that I'm logged in as Richard Lum now. And if I click on this, when I click on this delegate to me, let's take a look. I get a simplified view of the document journal. And then here I can see the document and some key information. And if I like to add a comment, I can do so. The user can type in a comment in here. Let's try to go back to the document in here and say, as I am in the account payables manager, I'll go in and perhaps notify Richard Lum a bit about this. So I'll go up to my document, click on comments, and then here I can add a comment to Richard Lum and say, please check the terms. There we are. Yes, saved. And if I go back and take a look at this page, we should see a nice comment down here created by the colleague. Richard Lum can go in and delegate to a colleague and say, I want to forward this to somebody else. It might be that Bart Duncan needs to take a look at this because he knows all about the payment terms. Or he might say that this is okay. Is okay. Thank you. There we are. And now send it back to the account payables department. As simple as that. So let's go back and take a look at the comments. So there are, it's okay, it says, and the delegated to user is now empty. What we can do in here with our new comments section is, our delegation is that we can actually go in and configure these messages. This warning is now configurable. We can see that down here. And when I click on the yes, I get a new page that enables me to go in and make a user-defined comment type. This is the example created here in this document. This is the default comment type provided by the setup. If I want to, I can go in and modify this to, let's say, an error. And when I change this to an error, and go in and update the page, you see that the payment term is now highlighted, is now bolded, it's now an error type. I can go in and modify this, perhaps escalate it to an error or downgrade it to an information. And in case I'm not allowed to choose that option, I'll get notified about that. You cannot downgrade this to information. It can either be a warning or an error. Yes. Quite cool, I think. So let's see the next one. Recognize fields. This, yes. Same vendor, but now we have a missing receipt notification down here at the bottom. We're doing some order match and the match didn't complete. So that we get a message that the order number exists, 1005, but we have no receipts. The reason why I get this message is that on my template, if you take a look at that, I have a setting that says I only want to match against my receipts. And looking at my match lines page, you will see that I have a filter on my order number. You'll see I have a 1005 order number as orders, but no receipt lines. Okay, that's cool. The system works. It does tell me that I have the information, but why do I have to deal with this manually? I would like to raise an error every time that this is missing because it's kind of stopping me from moving on. So I'll go in and configure this error message as an error type, and at the same time delegate this to the person responsible. So the person, the purchaser, the warehouse manager, whoever I've recognized in the document will be notified. So I put this small tick in the checkmark box, close, and when I do my processing of the document, it will, of course, raise it as an error and autogate it to Richard Lum, in this case, as Richard Lum was the one that we have marked as our contact. Let's take a look at Richard Lum's page, and he has a new document delegated to him. We see this new invoice from Coolwood Technologies, and we also see an auto-delegated comment down here that it was delegated to you due to the order number does exist, but we have no receipts. So please, Mr. Lum, go in and do your job as a warehouse manager or purchaser, receive the goods, or perhaps contact the reseller to make sure that we get the goods delivered. In those days, we used to go in and send a document for approval, or we made a copy of this and sent a mail. A lot of hassle doing so. Now we can go in easily, also configure the solution to deliver documents, delegate them to the right persons without touching a finger. One thing that is worth noticing is that as soon as Richard Lum is finished with his receiving of the goods, he delivers it back to the account payables. And you might think that the account payables need to go in and do order matching and recognize fields on and on. But no, we can go in and set this up automatically through the job queue. So let's say 2 times a day, we run this auto matching background job that matches all those documents that you want to have matched. That will save you a tremendous amount of time. Instead of going manually, remembering and using status code, whatever, you can now go in and have the solution to the automated matching. Let's continue down the path regarding order match. I have here a new invoice. Yet another one. I have quite a lot today. I recognize fields and I get a 3-line recognition. That's cool. But I have an issue down here that this sum of all the matched lines does not reconcile to the total amount in the invoice, and one or more lines are unmatched. Okay, let's go in and take a look at the matching page. I have 3 lines recognized, as you can see, and to make the view a bit more simplified, I will filter on the order number in the invoice. There we are. Oh, by the way, please notice that we have the extra filters up here. I can filter on unmatched or matching differences. These are the 2 new filters mentioned in the earlier slide about what we can do in here in our matching page. Yes. So I filtered on my order number 1004, and I see those 2 lines that are matched. And I also see that down here that 10 and 2 are matched perfectly. On the other hand, the freight is not matched, and that's probably due to the missing freight on the order number, on the order card. So let's go in and do something about that. Quite simple. Place your cursor on the line that is missing in the order, click on the line, and activate the create line on purchase document. So there we are. The line is created. Based on the information down here and the translation already existing, of course, you need to have a translation, otherwise DocumentCapture wouldn't know where to post this. We're going to post the invoice order. And the only thing missing is to reprocess the matching, recognize documents, whatever you like to do. And there we are. Now we have a full match. Completely matched with purchase order 1004. Nice and easy, simple and short. Yeah, nothing more to say about that. And next document, more order stuff. Let's go in and recognize fields. In this case, I have a 1 line on my invoice, 6,000, quantity of 1. Seems quite simple and easy, so why can't I match? 1 or more lines are unmatched. In this case, I have a purchase order with also 1 line, but the problem is in this case that my amount does not match. Let's take a look at the orders. 1 line, same account, same quantity, but the price is different. If you take a look at my template, you'll see that my matching criteria are use the order number and use the unit cost. And as the unit cost differs, I cannot match. In this case, my order is kind of a budget order. This is what we expect the new furniture for the office to cost. It might be that I'm getting multiple deliveries and therefore multiple invoices, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, a bit every week. And in this case, I got an invoice of 6,000, which might be the first invoice for this full delivery of goods. And instead of going in manually, opening the order card and adjusting the number, the price, or adding a new line manually, I can do that directly from here. When I say adding a line, I actually mean I want to split this line. In this case, I have one line, but I need to split it into several lines, and one of the lines needs to be 6,000 in order to be able to match with this current invoice. So let's split the invoice line. Place your cursor in the line you want to split and select the split. There we are. You can fill in a custom description, otherwise you will take the one from the account. And I will take this furniture's first batch, something like that. And 6,000 is taken from the invoice. Cool, that's what I want. Okay, and now I have 6,000, the new one, and the rest 4,000. So I still have 10,000 in total. Cool, let's go in and do some processing before the match. Yes, we match the line with the first batch. If we go back, you'll see that I have a complete match. It's so easy and it's so cool. It saves me a lot of time and it makes my matching so much more fun. Now to a bit different invoice. We're still in the order matching process. So let's take a look at this, recognize fields. But now we have some differences in the unit price. As you can see, we have a invoice with quantity of 10 that each cost 99 and 2 tables at 301 currency units. Okay, let's take a look at the matching process in here. The problem is that I have an order, a purchase order. Oh, let me filter on the right one, where I had different prices. For some reason, they invoiced us a bit less for the chairs, and the price for the conference table is a bit higher. So how to handle this? Well, I could go in manually and match this, but that is again a manual action. I don't want that. I would like to go in and set it up on my template instead to have some kind of rule, some settings that make the matching go fully automated. In this case, I'm matching based on my order number, of course, and also my unit cost. And my unit cost is the one that differs. That's why I have no complete match. We have added, when you match on unit cost, the possibility to go in and set a variance amount and a variance percentage, much like the same way we have on the total amounts. But this is per line, meaning that I now allow up to €1, $1, one whatever currency I have for these individual lines, for these individual item prices. So this is not the line amount, it's the line price, the unit price. If you put in both values, let's say I put in like 10% and 1 unit up here, we always take the lesser value of those two. The lowest of the one that we calculate is the one we'll use. Meaning that if you buy something for a billion euros, we of course don't allow 10% of that. We only allow €1, as this is the lesser of those two values. If you put in a 0, this will not be taken into consideration. We will only use the fields where we have a value. So let's go back and try out the matching now. For match, great stuff. We are matching. We do get a notification about some differences. 10 here for this line and 2 in total, -2 in fact for this line. Seems quite okay. Let's try to go back and look at the messages. We have a complete match. However, we do have a difference of 8 between the line amount match and the one that is allowed for the full document. In this case, this is a simple information, but as you can see, configurable. This is possible to go in and change that and say whenever this one is raised, do something about it. Instead of just informing me, you could say this is a semi-blocking warning. You cannot do batch registration or auto registration. This will be stopped and you need to handle it manually. And if I'm lucky, I can also go in and change this to an error. In this case, I'm allowed to do so, but in certain cases, you can only move it one step up or one step down. In this case, I can move it all the way to the top and generate an error, and through that, delegate it automatically to somebody. Please note that only errors can be auto-delegated. Yes, let's go back here and do something about this message, because what I could do is I could go in and say, I do allow a full invoice total amount difference of up to 10. And as I have a total difference of 8, that should include that also. And process, recognize fields. We now have a complete match, no errors, no warnings. Everything is okay, and I can move on, register in the document. So please notice that using the line variance settings also includes the total amount variance, and through that we have a double check at you might have split up the invoice in multiple quantities, multiple lines, and if the total difference is too big, then we've been blocked through this parameter up here. Yes. Awesome. So let's go in and continue with the next one. Oh, another vendor. It's time to look at the invoices from Electronics Limited. And that would be something about tracking. As you can see, the item number here with the T at the end is one of the item numbers in our Kronos environment, our demo environment, that has item tracking enabled. So let's take a look at this. Serial number match. It says here in my search text. Oh, how convenient. That's what we're going to look at. I recognize the full invoice, the single line, quantity of 3, and I get an error down here that says that the match quantity, which was completely matched, cool, it was completely matched, but it's not quite correct because something differs from the tracking entries. So the match quantity, the 3, are not assigned any tracking entries. So let's take a look at that. It's always been that, in that case, in Domain Capture, that you can match fully with item tracking. So if you have an invoice of 3 and an order of 3 and 3 item lines, tracking lines, those two would fit nicely together. But here in the new version, you can go in and do partly matching with some of the item tracking entries. And in this case, where I have 3 in my invoice and 7 lines in my tracking, due to the 7 quantities received, I have to go in, manually select those item tracking lines that are the ones in question. So let's take a look at this. I have 7 lines, each of 1 quantity, and right now total of 0 is shown in all the lines, meaning that no other order invoice have been matched with these lines. So I'm going to say this is for this serial number and for this serial number and also this serial number down here. This is something I know, of course, because I handle this invoice and have some details in other lists perhaps. Could be that the number was shown directly in the invoice and therefore I can know which numbers to select. So let's go in and close this one. And if I go back, you'll see that we have a complete match now because I have linked the quantity of 3 to 3 specific lines in my item tracking. Well, what about the rest, the 4 of them? They are auto matched if I have the right document, of course. So now I have a document of 4 quantity, same vendor. Let's try to do the recognition here. And you'll see that this is completely matched. And let's take a look at the match lines. 4 pieces, 7 in total. And if I look at the item tracking, you'll see that Domain Capture automatically took the rest of the lines, meaning that I can now have Domain Capture automatically link the quantity with the remaining unmatched quantity. So it might be the full order that is remaining or part of the order. If there's a difference with the first invoicing, you need to go in and pinpoint which lines. And if let's say the second invoice was only 2 in the quantity, I again need to go in and pinpoint which 2 I'm linking the invoice quantity to. But in this case, I had 4 remaining in my item tracking and the invoice had 4 in quantity. Therefore, we can auto match and auto link those entries together. Cool, fantastic. I'm finished with this one. And now the last document and the last part of my presentation. This is regarding some line calculation. If you take a look at the image to the right, you can see that I have 4 lines and the top line has a nice quantity, price, and amount visible. This is available when they're recognized, and therefore everything is good. But when it comes to the second, third, and fourth line, it's quite easy to notice that I'm missing some of the values. Up to now, we didn't calculate all those missing values. We only calculated the quantity if price and amount was equal, meaning that if I have a price of 100 and an amount of 100, we would assume the quantity is 1. But we have enhanced Diamond Capture 650 to calculate the missing values. And if we try that out here with my recognizing of fields, you will see that all the lines are recognized. And if I take a look at my, go to the right page, my document card, you'll see that all the values are available in here. My quantity is here, and it's down here, the 3 and the 4. However, the second 4 is not highlighted because it's not recognized. It has been calculated. And if you take a look further down, you'll see there's a nice warning informing us about that the quantity unit cost line amounts was automatically calculated in one or more lines. And in case you want this to be raised as an error, you can probably go in here and say, let's go and change this. Let's move it up, and you also move it down the ladder because it's just information. It don't have to block my auto registration or batch registration. Please note when changing these comment times, this is a global setting for all the vendors in the company. This is a company-wide setting. So if you have a policy that says this quantity is only information, this applies to all documents that you register. Yes, that was about it. I guess I came through the whole agenda. It's been a pleasure showing you the Diamond Capture 650, and I hope you enjoy having fun with the solution.